Red dot.
Okay, good. All right. Hello, welcome to my first in guitar lessons, basic guitar, beginner guitar. And I'm making this video because I have a dear niece named Amber Lee. Hello, Amber Lee. That I just got one of these Taylor guitars for her for Christmas, and she's going to be learning from this beginner lesson. And I've got Miss Irene Hoffman doing the taping for us. Say hello, Irene.
Hi.
There she is. Yeah. So we're just going to go through some very, very basic things that we need to understand. I would say, first of all, about the guitar itself. We really need to understand some things about the guitar. So first of all, the strings on the guitar are numbered, beginning with the smallest string, or what's called the plain strings, and toward the larger strings. So they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 this way. It's best to learn with a good playing, good sounding acoustic guitar. It's best to get you an acoustic guitar that's easy to play, or get a tech or somebody like myself at Folkstone Guitars to set it up for you to make the strings easy to push down, because a guitar is hard enough to play without making it harder to play. So let's make it as easy as possible by making the strings as close as we can to the fingerboard, and that's called the action. So we want the action to be nice and low. We want a good quality wood acoustic guitar, and you should always start with an acoustic guitar because this is the basic instrument. Don't ever try to learn to play guitar with an electric or with a bass, or don't go to a bass and think, well, I'm going to go to bass because bass is only 4 strings and it's going to be a lot easier. Not necessarily. If you want to go to bass or you want to go to electric guitar later, that's fine. But you want to start with a basic acoustic guitar because this is what all of the other ones are based on. And you'll always be able to play this and sing along with it and play this guitar to yourself. You don't need to plug it in or anything. It's very handy. So guitars are great. And this is a Taylor 110 guitar. And Taylors are great. One of the things that's great about it is the solid top that it has. And I recommend a big full body guitar because it has just a greater sound projection. It's nice and loud, and it's warm sounding. So in any way, what we're going to do here is go to the parts of the guitar first. And I had sent you a sheet on that showing the parts of the guitar. And this is not something that you're going to be able to see on the camera that well. You have the sheet in front of you, so you can go over this with me. But it's important to see how the guitar works, and I have it written there that the sound is actually produced by the vibrations of the top, and the signal is transferred through the saddle and the bridge. So be familiar with the parts of your guitar. Know, for example, that when I say grab your tuning gear, that I'm referring to this little knob up here. And so we're going to talk about, first of all, about tuning. And before we get to that, I've got one other thing that I want to mention to you, and that is it's a good idea to keep the nails as short as possible on your left hand. I know that a lot of girls don't like to clip their nails, but you know, it's easier to play the guitar if you keep them on your left hand. And this is for right-handed players. On your left hand, shorter, because your nails tend to dig into the fingerboard, and you don't want that to happen. So you want to keep them short. And I recommend keeping your nails longer on your right hand because you can eventually use those for finger picking, and those are really handy. Good to have some nails over there to pick with. And I'm using a medium thin pick for strumming, just a regular size pick. It's about 1 inch tall. This is about the best thing to start with, just a basic pick that you hold. So let's talk first of all about tuning. Now, we know what these are. These are the little snart tuners that clip onto the headstock, and they're great. And you should always, always, always use a tuner. Now, when I was learning to play the guitar, we didn't have these things, and you would have to tune by ear. And that's actually a good thing to learn, and I'm going to teach you that in just a minute. But suffice it to say that since we live in the 21st century and we have these great electronic tuners, by all means avail yourself of them, because they will, you'll find that where your ear will fail you sometimes, you'll find that the tuner will not. It's always accurate. It's right on. So you want to use your tuner and clip it on the headstock. But before we use it, I'm going to just go ahead and turn it off for now. I'm going to teach you a way to tune your guitar the standard way, like the old-fashioned way, because everybody that plays the guitar needs to know this. So first of all, I don't know how near tuned your guitar is, but you can try tuning up to me now. And I'm going to start with the bottom string, the 6th string, and you can just grab your tuner there and get ready to tune up to the pitch that I give you as you hear the sound of my string. First of all, the E 6th string. Alright, now we're going to go to the 5th string, which is the A string. Now don't worry if you don't get it exact, because we're going to actually use this as a basis for tuning your guitar, and you're going to tune your guitar a little better than this. Alright, now the D string, which is the 4th string. Alright, now the G string, the 3rd string, which is G. Alright, the B string, which is the 2nd string. Now for the E first. Alright, one of the things I wanted to say at the beginning was that when you play the guitar, you should learn to play the guitar sitting down. You're not really ready to strap it up yet when you're first learning. And what you want to do is find a chair with no arms. Now I'm sitting in a chair that's just a standard, one of these fold-out chairs. It's got a little pad on it. So this makes just an ideal thing to sit and mount your guitar with, because it has no arms and nothing's going to get in the way of your body or your neck, or your elbows are not going to be running into any kind of armrest. So, excuse me, you want some kind of a chair that is armless and is comfortable for you. You want to keep your back fairly straight. You don't want to lean over very much when you're playing the guitar, because the straighter you keep your back, the more that you're going to actually be towering over your guitar, and you need to be able to do that. And also you want to rest your forearm in this area, your right forearm for your right hand picking. You want to pick the guitar and strum the guitar about this area here, which is just inside the bottom of the sound hole, just inside of it. That's basically the sweet spot for the guitar. right through here. That's your sweet spot. Because if you strum closer to the neck, you can get sort of a muddied sound or a warmer sound. Listen. So you don't want to strum up there very much. If you strum too close to the bridge, it gets brittly and a little bit shrill sounding. So you want to strum the guitar right through here and just get used to playing it in that area. I mean, later on you can experiment and have different tones and everything and play in different places with your right hand. But that's how you want to, that's the area that you basically want to strum in right there. Now as far as the left hand is concerned, this is going to be a little more difficult. One of the things to keep in mind is your left elbow here. Try always to keep from getting in the habit of resting your elbow on your leg when you're playing the guitar. I mean, I know you might be tired sometimes, and there's a tendency to do this and kind of slouch over the guitar. You don't want to do that because you don't have the control for your dexterity when you do that. You want to keep your elbow away from your side over here. You want to keep it out like that. In fact, you can just, right now, just take your guitar and put your left hand over here on the fingerboard, like I've got mine, and put your fingers not in an angle like this, but keep them kind of straight as you can. Now your fingers will naturally want to curve that way at an angle, but you want to try to keep them as straight as possible and even with the frets, because that's what they're for the frets. So with your fingers straight like this and your elbow out, this is about the way you want to be playing your guitar. Now, as far as handling the neck, this is the fingerboard, the back is the neck. As far as handling the neck of the guitar, you want to get the idea of sort of pinching the guitar. This is going to help you to put the pressure that you need down on the strings to fret the strings. What I mean by pinching it is that your thumb is actually planted somewhere near the middle or roughly sort of off-center on the back of the neck, and you're applying pressure with your thumb. You really can't play a guitar without, in an upright position without a thumb. You've got to have a thumb on your left hand to play the guitar. So it's very important that you pinch here as much as you can. And you're pinching the neck of the guitar basically, and this is how you get the pressure that you need to make these chords clean and to fret them properly. Now, as far as tuning the guitar in a standard way or the old-fashioned way, let's go back to a time when there wasn't any tuners. Let's just say it's the 1950s or 1960s or whatever, and you've got a guitar and it's strung up and it's near tuned, but it's not quite there. Okay, well, the first thing you got to do is you've got to get the bottom E string tuned. And the best thing to use on this would be a pitch pipe or a tuning fork or a piano note. Would get it on key. You won't need to do that because in the video today, I've already given you the note. So there's your bottom E note. If you have not tuned it in sharply or you want to recheck it, you can check it now. Make sure it's tuned up to me. Alright, now what we want to do, since we have one string tuned properly, the bottom E, 6th string, we want to tune the other strings to that string because we know it's on pitch. So here's how we tune the other strings without using a tuner. We want to come up to the 5th fret, and the frets will be counted by their spaces. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where you've got a second dot on your fingerboard, that is the middle of the guitar fingerboard. Basically, that's the 5th fret. So we want to fret that string, and when we fret that string, we want to pinch a little and take the tip of our finger, the tip, not quite on the nail, not quite on the fingerprint part, but like right on the tip. That's where you're going to start developing calluses.
Count 5.
So this is actually going to be, I'm going to be using for this purpose, I'm going to use finger number 3. So just as you've got your strings counted, you've got your fingers counted, beginning with the pinky, finger 1, 2, 3, 4. And it shows you that in the Mel Bay book also, which I had sent to you. This is good to look through. We won't be using this as like a textbook exclusively, but it's a good thing to have. Shows a lot of helpful photographs of actual chord formations and an actual hand doing them. And there's some good information in here. You should read through it. And so what I'm doing is on the 5th fret here, I'm taking my second finger, number 2, and I'm fretting. And I'm not going to push down too hard, because if you push down too hard, the note will go sharp. It will go up. You want your fingering to be right in the center of the fret, and you want to make this note. That note will be an A note. Now your 5th string should have the same pitch as that note. So you hit the 6, hit it a few times, leave your finger there, and then hit the A string next to it. Do you hear how they're the same? Actually, mine is a little bit flat, so I'm going to tune my A string up. Now they're the same. Now, so I've got the first 2 strings tuned. So we're doing pretty good here. So now I want to come up to the 5th fret again on the 5th string with the same finger in the same arrangement. What you want to do is hit the 5th string, 5th fret. And get used to the way that sounds. Get that note fixed in your ear and in your memory. And then try the next string, which is the D or the 4th string. And they should be the same. And I see that they are. If they weren't, I would have to tune the D string to match it. I've already tuned the 6th and the 5th string, so I don't want to touch those. I'm going in this direction, tuning the guitar. So I started with the 6th, and then I tuned the 6th string open, then I tuned the A string to it at the 5th fret, and now I'm tuning the D string to the 5th string. Now let's tune the 3rd or G string. And again, 5th fret, and this will be the 4th string, 5th fret. Pretty close. Sounds pretty good to me. Alright, now you want to come up, when you tune the B string, the 2nd string, this time, and this is the only one that's different, you want to come up to the 4th fret on the 3rd string. 4th fret. Get used to the way that sounds. And then tune the 2nd string to that. So you hit your 3rd string fretted, and then your 2nd string open. And they should be the same. My guitar is tuned, so they are the same. If it's not, tune your B string up or down with the tuning gear. Now you want to tune the last string, and this time, again, you'll come up to the 5th fret. Once again, the only one that was different was in tuning the 2nd string. You fingered the 4th fret of the 3rd string. Now you want to come up to the 5th fret of the 2nd string in order to tune the 1st string. And there's your E. Okay, now the tuner, I'm going to go ahead and turn the tuner on. And you already know how to use one of these tuners. The tuner will check your work. And everything is looking like we're tuned up here. So here's the first exercise I want you to do after you watch this video. I want you to, for at least a week, I want you to practice tuning your guitar the standard way, without the tuner. I want you to get your E string tuned first, get it on key, and then I want you to tune your other strings in that sort of way, so that you can teach yourself, excuse me, so that you can teach yourself this method of basic tuning. This way, if you're someplace and you don't have a tuner, then you can, or you forget to bring it or whatever, you can still tune a guitar. It's good to learn how to tune a guitar. I don't want the next generation to lose sight of the fact that there's a basic way of tuning the guitar without all these fancy electronics that we have. So that's very important. And when you're done with the tuner, turn it off right away. That saves your battery. And later on I'll show you how to change the battery in these. It's very, very easy. We'll get to that. But turn your tuner off. It will go off by itself over a period of, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. But it's good to keep it off because you want to save your battery life. Okay, just take it off and set it on somewhere off to the side. And now the next thing I want to do is talk about chords, because we want to play this thing. We don't want to just look at it and strum it and listen to the tone it has or admire it or whatever. We want to actually make this thing work for us, because that's what the guitar does. The guitar works for you. Okay? It is your slave. All right? It's going to make music for you. That's what it's for. And music is a great thing, and that's why we love guitars, because it's what the human race needs, is more great music and merriment. So the guitar is an instrument, a wonderful instrument designed for that. Now I had sent you some pictures of chords that I'd run off out of the Mel Bay chord book. But one very basic chord that we will learn is G. Now I went over a G with you when I was down there, but what I want to do today is show you how this actually works on a chord block. Now, if you'll notice in this handout that I have, and I sent one of these with the guitar, I've got your finger numbering here, and then I've got the frets. I've got the strings counted, the nut of the guitar, so you can start from there and count the frets down. And this is how I teach the G chord, the open G chord. So that's what that sheet is for. So you can look at that to refresh your memory. You should memorize the chords that I'm teaching you. You should be able to know automatically where to place your fingers. It'll all come naturally to you. When you first start to play a guitar, the guitar fights you. Your fingers react differently. It doesn't want to work for you, but you train them and you get there. So what we want to do here is make the G, and we want to make it open. So we want the strings in the middle to all be open. So you've got here 3 strings that are not being fretted. That's the 3 in the middle. So we want those to be nice and open. But we are placing our second finger on the 3rd fret of the 6th string, and we're using our first finger, our index finger, on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. Okay? And then our 3rd finger goes all the way over here. It has to be kind of cocked back a little bit over here to the 3rd fret of the 1st string. Now, when you do this, sometimes your fingers want to lay down and they want to muffle, or they run into another string like that.
Do the placement again.
Okay. 2nd finger, 3rd fret, 1st finger, 2nd fret of the 5th string, 3rd finger, 3rd fret of the 1st string. Okay? Now, your fingers want to run into the other strings and mute them. You'll feel that happening. But you want that string, you don't want that thing to sound like that. You want it to sound like that. You want it to be open. So your fingers have to sort of come out this way from the guitar, come around, and go straight down onto the fingerboard. So you've got this thing that I refer to as cradling the neck of the guitar. You're sort of cradling it. Remember your elbow now. You want to keep that elbow straight. You want to keep that arm straight. You want to keep your forearm just like this, all the way around the fingerboard of the guitar, because you want control. You don't want to lose control of this thing. You don't want to get into any kind of bad habits getting developed, that's going to keep you from playing properly. So it'll go a whole lot easier if you'll just get past any habits that are a deterrent. Get past those right away. So what you want to do is go straight down. I start with the second finger. I start with the low string, and then I go to the fifth string where I had the finger placement, and then I go over here like that. So I've got this G chord ready, and I'm pinching. This is about the way I'm pinching the back of the neck, right there. You can see where my thumb is, and I'm making a G chord. G, you will be playing G nearly every time you pick up the guitar. You're going to play a G because it's just there. It's in so much music and it's so useful. And by the way, there's nothing like the open chords on a guitar. I mean, when you're playing down in this low area here, this low register, and you're playing these open chords, that's really the sweetest sound. It's the full sound of the guitar. And so it goes like this. Now to check yourself, you don't want to do a lot of strumming yet. You want to pluck one string at a time to make sure each one is clean, okay? Notice that each string rings out. And it's good to practice picking those strings individually and getting the feeling, the basic feeling in your right hand, and pick what the spacing of those strings are. And then strum it. Once you've got it clean, once you're recording this clean, strum it. Now, that's probably enough, and what you want to do is rest. Now, if you ever find that your hand has a little bit of a circulation problem, I've had this all my life. If I stay like this for like 30 minutes or an hour, I'll have to take a break between a song or something, between songs, and just put your arm down by your side like this, with your hand down like this, and just let the blood just flow down to your arm a little bit, and relax, and take your hand and go like that a little bit with it, and exercise it. It's a good thing. It's a good thing to do, because keep your circulation up. You're going to need that for playing the guitar. All right. So you want to keep your fingers spread apart in such a way, like when you're playing the guitar, it's kind of like clawing mud. When you go to claw, you put your hands in something like mud, or I don't know, silly putty or whatever, or clay, and they spread apart, and you can feel it, oozing between your fingers. That's kind of the idea of how you want to finger this guitar, how you want to attack the fingerboard, because you want your fingers to have some space between them. You don't want to play the guitar like this. You want to play it like this as much as possible, because later on we're going to get into assigning a fret for each finger, like when we're playing scales, when we do something like, or, okay. As you can see, I had one finger per fret. I didn't have to move my hand back and forth to do that. Okay, so it's very important to get your fingers, your elbow, your hand, everything from the very beginning. Discipline yourself and practice enough to where you get this lined up and you get it right on there every time. So that's one chord that I'm showing you today. The other chord I want to talk to you about for guitar is the E minor. And I went over this too while I was there. And the best way to remember this is that you take your two middle fingers, these two right here, number 2 and number 3, okay? And you want to just use two strings. You want to use your A string, 2nd fret, and your D string, 2nd fret. So number 5 string and number 4 string on the 2nd fret with these two fingers, And you want your number 2 finger on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, your number 3 finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. And make it clean, hit each note. Make sure that each one rings out, that there's no muting, there's no sound like this. You don't want that sound there, you want this. Okay? Once you get it clean, strum it a little bit. When you strum a guitar, your pick should be relaxed. Not too relaxed, not too hard. You don't want to pick too hard. You don't want to hold this thing real tight. You want to hold it a little bit loose so that it kind of has some leeway. It kind of has a little bit of play in it. Okay? So when you play like a chord like this, it doesn't sound like this. I'm picking too hard. I'm holding the pick too hard. I want to be gentle. I want the pick to very gently go across the strings like that. And try to keep from running into your pick guard. You know, I get guitars in for repair and they have scratches just all over them. Now that pick guard is there for that reason, so that you won't scratch the top of the guitar with your pick. But it's a good idea to keep it from getting scratched as much as possible. You don't want to scratch up your pick guard. And plus it sort of takes away from the sound. You'll be a better player if you can teach your hand, your right hand here, to play without running into the guitar top. So that's a good thing. Just pick and stroke evenly here. And then you can take this E chord. This is a good thing to use for that, because you don't have to do much work down here to make it. You can take this basic E and you can strum this way. You can hit the bottom 3 strings and then the upper 3 strings. So the bass strings and then the treble strings, and strum this way. Then I recommend strumming back one time on the treble strings. So down on the bass string, back on the treble strings. And if you're holding your pick just right, if you're not holding it too tight or too soft, you'll be able to feel it sort of giving way as you come back. You can feel your pick moving in your fingers, and you want your pick to move. You want it to move a little bit. Okay? You don't want it to be real stiff. You want to hold it probably to where there's maybe something like, I don't know what that would be, probably nearly a 1/4 inch of the point is sticking out. Maybe 1/3 of an inch of the point is sticking out of the pick. That's about what you want. Now the next chord I want to go to is a D. Now I gave you a sheet that showed a D from the Mel Bay book, and you can find this in the Mel Bay book as well. The way he forms a D, it shows you exactly here, the finger numbering and everything for that. And you'll notice that it's only using 4 strings, that the 5th and 6th strings are not being used, so they have these little X's on them, which are mutes, which means you're not going to use your 5th and 6th strings. You're not going to use your 5th and 6th strings. But the 4th string is open. The bottom string is your 4th. That's going to be the base of the chord, the base of the scale. And then the rest of the chord should sound that way. A lot of popular music, a lot of hit songs and everything are done in the key of D. D is a very, very appealing chord. And so you can see from your sheet where your fingers go for this. So I won't be going back over that with you. Just simply to say that do your homework, take your book or your sheets, whatever, and look at how this is formed. Remember to pinch the guitar. Remember where your thumb placement is. Normally, as you work more toward the treble strings this way, your thumb will go that way also, across the back of the neck. It'll slightly go toward that direction. So if I'm playing a G, then my thumb is way over here. You see that on the edge? giving support to those two bottom strings. But when I'm playing a D, it's more like over here, because I'm closer to that right side of the fingerboard. Alright? Now, the other chord that I want you to learn, definitely learn, right off, is a C. And the C is also on this sheet. It shows the proper fingering. The string that is not used with the C is the 6th string. The bottom 6 is not used. But it begins with the 5th and uses the other 5, like that. Now, when you're strumming this, you'll notice that your 6th string can get in the way. You don't want him to get in the way, you want him to be quiet. You don't want it to sound like this. You want it to sound like this. So what you want to do when you first start doing this is you want to look down at your strings in your right hand, make sure that you're hitting the right string. And you do this enough. I mean, do it again and 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 again. Just keep doing it over and over for like weeks until your hand here lands on the right string. Like that. So you can strum down, back, or strum one way. You're getting used to playing the guitar. You're getting used to forming the chords, because the next thing that we'll have to get into when we want to play a song is modulation. That is, we want to be able to form these chords and then form them quick enough so that we don't lose a beat, we don't lose a step in the progression of chords as you're playing a song. So modulation will be the next thing. But learn your G, learn your E minor, learn your C, and your D. Because this is what we're getting to. This is where we're going. Watch. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. That's where we're going, and that will be the first song that I teach you. It'll be the first song you learn, unless you teach yourself something else before then, which you probably will do. You'll probably be playing some other song before I even teach you that one. But that's the first song to learn from my method of guitar playing, and it's very easy to learn. And you have these basic chords in it. There was one other chord in that you need to learn, and that's the A chord. Okay? Well, we can start off playing Amazing Grace with just 3 chords. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. See, now I only used 3 chords that time, but to play the full song, you really need to play all 5 of the chords. I mean, it sounds better that way. And there'll be a number system that I have worked out for you with that I'll be showing you later on. This is just the first video. This is just to get you started. There's plenty of enough to learn from here that I'm giving you, and with the sheets and handouts that I've given you. So next we'll be getting into some modulation and other things. But and just suffice it to say that we'll learn Amazing Grace, and you'll get to where you can make these chords after you just spend weeks and weeks and weeks, or however long it takes. If it takes months, you know, hey, however long it takes. Remember, you're just getting started, so it's going to take time to learn to form a G and then form a C right from a progression, so that you don't even lose a beat. But as you learn to play Amazing Grace, you're going to strum a chord, and then you're going to hesitate, and then you're going to form your C. Because right now you're at the stage where it's hard for you to make these chords. Your hand hasn't been taught to automatically go to the chord spaces yet. But you'll get to that, and you'll get this. You will become a player. I have no doubt in my mind. And a better player than me. You know, I play just enough guitar to carry my voice. I mean, I did it for a living, but I did it because I had a voice too. And I want you to play the guitar to carry your voice, and you've got a great voice. And I want you to sing with your guitar, but I want you to go beyond that and be able to really pick and play a lot of things on the guitar, a lot of music, because guitar music is beautiful. Instrumental guitar music is just a wonderful thing. And you'll get there, but you're just starting now. And so I'm going to be making another tube sometime after Christmas. So right now I'm going to go ahead and close this one. And I want to say thank you to Miss Irene for helping us out here today. You got anything you want to say?
Hi, Amberly.
There she is. So you can hear her voice a lot better because she's right there at the camera mic. But this should get you started, and say hello to my dad. Hey, Dad. Hello to my sister, your mom, Cindy. Hello, Cindy. And hello to your dad, Don. Hello to everybody in the household. And I hope everybody has a very Merry Christmas. We're going to be celebrating Christmas here, Irene and I, and just together here in Tallahassee. And we hope that everybody has a wonderful Christmas and you have a really good day. Thank you again. We'll talk to you soon.